Hi, I'm Danny Johnson. Welcome to the Danny Johnson Show. Friend, today is Money Monday. We have to start over. I'm so sorry. Can you tell that my head is not here? I'll work on this thing. Okay. Hi, I'm Danny Johnson. Welcome to the Danny Johnson Show. Hey, is your credit score meaningless? Do you know? Is it meaningless? Are you not sure? Some people think it's totally meaningless, and I will tell you that's a rare group of people. And then there is this whole other group of people that are completely controlled by this number that actually didn't even exist until just a few years ago. Well, some wonderful marketers decided to figure out how to get more people in debt. Yeah, the credit score. I remember when that number first started talking about, Credit Karma. Check your credit score. Like, what is that all about? I do know this. As one who has worked with a lot of people concerning their credit and debt and all of this stuff, I can tell you it's a bunch of baloney. Does anyone eat bologna anymore? I'm really not sure. Do they even sell bologna anymore? What is bologna? I'm not sure. Anyway, but listen to me. Are you controlled by your credit score? Is that controlling you? Let's pick this apart because I'm more concerned about you creating wealth than I am about your credit score. I want to tell you about a conversation that I had recently with my amazing son, Roman, and his absolutely phenomenal wife, Rachel. This couple is like, I don't know. They just blow my mind. They really do. Like how smart they are, how wise they are, how they think things through. And so Roman bought his first property when he was 15 years old. I know you're like, whatever, not true. That couldn't happen. No, it did, okay? The kid was smart. He learned some very powerful negotiation skills at a seminar called First Steps to Success when he was 8 years old. And he's been practicing these skills ever since, and as well as our leadership conference called Creating a Dynasty. So this young man, and there's this one other class that he took in high school, and I'm a homeschooling mom, and this is one class I kind of wish I didn't have him go through, but really on the other side, I'm really glad that it's called rhetoric. So he learned some really powerful communication skills, and he has used these communication skills to bring some great financial success to himself at a very, very young age. In fact, as a teenager with a $100,000 net worth. Hello, who does that? Very few people. But he negotiated with some private lenders on buying a house. He created this amazing presentation. He has been a homeowner, for going on 6 years. He was 15. He's now 21. And he's been a landlord, right? To adults, meaning he's an adult. But I'm saying like people who are much older than him. And in fact, they didn't even know that he was their landlord, which is also hilarious. But bottom line is that when it's come time to now he and his wife looking at purchasing another home, perhaps a home they will live in, and or they're looking for rental properties. And so they've gotten lots of different advice from various different people, some of which say, hey, you have to build your credit. You have to build your credit. So get yourself a credit card. As soon as I heard that kind of advice, I'm like, ooh, no. And here's why. I have worked one-on-one with helping people create wealth, literally one-on-one, where I am looking at my clients' bank statements. I'm looking at where their debt is. I'm looking at what they're trying to do and places that they need to increase their income, or places that they need to cut back on their expenses because it's going to silly places. And so I've also seen and heard all the people who had declared bankruptcy, and a year, 2 years down the road, they were able to buy another house. The bankruptcy did not. They had a house foreclosed on them. I can't tell you how many stories I've heard like this, where the house has foreclosed on them. And yet 2 years later, they're buying another house. But see, the market controls our minds and all the marketing trying to fear people into not ever making a financial mistake. However, I don't know if you know this, but most millionaires have declared bankruptcy not once, but twice. So think that one through. Okay, even billionaires have declared bankruptcy over and over again. I'm not saying bankruptcy is a wise thing to do. Please do not try to read into this conversation something that I'm not saying. What I am saying is that everyone who is successful financially has had some major financial failures, okay? So, but look at the 98% of the population who ends up dead or dead broke at the age of 65, depending on their family, friends, and federal government for their main source of income. So how do they end up broke? Well, largely because they're controlled by marketing and they're not really thinking everything through. And so when this conversation came to me about, hey, I heard anyway, I was in the midst of this conversation, get a credit card and start charging things and make sure you pay it off every single month. Now, wow. That's a very scary thing. But let me say this. I heard from a millionaire one time this statement: there's more than one way to skin a cat. There's more than one way to skin a cat. That's a terrible statement, isn't it? Gosh. It's like another friend I have. I'm not even going to say it because I just know I'm going to get hate mail on this one. There's more than one. There's more than one way to cut a cucumber. How about that? I think that's better. There really is. There's more than one way to cut a cucumber, right? There's not just one way to cut a cucumber. There's lots of ways you can cut a cucumber. So the same. But if you're young and you have heard your parents or one of your parents or family or friends or a banker who told you need to establish yourself with credit, I'm here to tell you there's another way to get the job done, and there's another way to create wealth. How is that other way? Cash is king. That's the bottom line. Cash is king. So if you choose not to use a credit card just to build up your credit so that you can someday get yourself a mortgage to buy a house you want to live in and or to buy a property that you want to make money on, then here's one way you can do it. Make as much cash and save as much cash as you possibly can. I promise you, cash is king. You see, many years ago, right after I was homeless, okay, I was homeless, and exactly a year later, I was homeless and I defaulted on all of my credit cards. I defaulted on electric bills. I defaulted on my car. Do you understand? I defaulted on everything when I became homeless. So here I have all this debt. I have really bad credit. I have all these things that went to collections, okay? And so now I've made a bunch of money, and I had saved $32,000. I had $32,000 in the bank. And so when I went to go look at perhaps actually leasing, and then I was told by the agent, hey, you could probably buy. You have an income to where you could certainly buy. They didn't even know how much cash I had in the bank. They had no idea how much bad credit I had. I said, no, but I have really bad credit. I have $35,000 in debt, and I defaulted on all of it. And they said, don't worry about it. There's a way to do it. So talk to the mortgage guy. So I did. And what did he tell me to do? He said, call and negotiate with each one of the debtors that I had. Collectors that I had. And I did. So look, December, I am homeless. The following December, I got approved for a loan after having really bad credit and after defaulting on all of those credit cards, car, electric bills, phone bills, all of that stuff. So I did not look good financially on paper, but I was able to finance a $259,000 home. Hello? So my interest rate was a little higher. No, actually it wasn't. It was the same as everybody else's at that time. So, and I put $32,000 down on that property. So what does that mean? Do not allow people to control you. When they give you this one answer, you need credit, get a credit card, that's how you're going to build your credit. No, you're going to build your reputation on cash. And if you're one that is able to save cash, that bank wants your cash, right? The lender wants your cash. The fact that you have cash and that you've chosen specifically not to go into debt, that's how you position yourself when you go face to face with somebody. And if you don't get the right answer from the first one, there are tons of banks to choose from. And my recommendation is that you would choose from a private little boutique bank, not the Wells Fargos, but the little local town, the little credit unions. They want your cash in their bank. Why? Because they make money from your cash. They're investing your cash and they're keeping the amount they're making as they've invested your cash. So they want your cash in their bank, and they also want to give you a loan. So you show financial stability when you've got cash. You do not have to show financial stability through how you manage debt. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So, bottom line is this, that your credit score is a statistical method that determines how likely you are to pay back the money you have borrowed. So, basically, how good are you at managing debt? The question is, do you want debt? Do you want debt? The answer is, it should be, in my opinion, no, that you do not want debt. You want to create wealth. You want to become the lender, not the borrower. Okay, so if you need to use debt to make a business arrangement to purchase a home, meaning even a home that you're going to rent, then that's a business relationship between you and the bank. They're making 6% on your investment. You're going to make whatever percent you're going to make when you sell that property, or you're making monthly, you're receiving cash flow every single month. Bottom line, I didn't want to turn this show into a let me give you financial advice that you didn't ask for. The point is to tell you, stop being controlled by fear. Stop being controlled by a credit score. You can change your credit score like that. All you got to do is Google, how do I increase my credit score? You'll see it can happen really fast. I've watched people do it over and over and over again. So if you are not in debt, my recommendation is don't go in it. My recommendation is collect cash, save cash, lots of cash. Cash is leverage. Cash is king still to this day, and it will be forever. It's going to be. So put yourself in a totally different, give yourself a totally different competitive edge and position yourself for wealth instead of positioning yourself with debt and positioning yourself to be owned by the bank. They know that if you get a credit card, they know you're going to slip up with it. They know you're going to be paying interest. They know it, and they want you to fail into their arms, failing into their arms of debt. And they want to own you. So don't let that happen with a credit card. Bad enough that you're going to get a mortgage. Okay, that's one thing. And again, that's backed by an asset. A credit card is not backed by an asset. What do I mean? Credit card is not backed by an asset. It's backed by liabilities, all the stuff that you bought or that you paid for. If you're buying a house, the house perhaps is an asset. You don't know. It's a speculative asset, but it perhaps is an asset. So that's backed by something, okay? It's backed by something. We don't have time for the rest of that conversation. We're going to leave it right there. Listen, if you want to learn more about investing, I really recommend you get a hold of the book, First Steps to Wealth. I'll give you a free copy of it if you go to firststepswealth.com and you pay the shipping to get it to your house, because we already paid the shipping to get it to our warehouse. Now we got to get it from our warehouse, from the publisher, to your house, okay? So you can get your copy right now if you go to firststepstowealth.com. Get your copy of it. And more importantly, please, once you start reading, because there's 2 chapters in there about investing, and there's 2 chapters in there about debt, and then there's 2 chapters in there about increasing your income. So if you want to increase your income, you want to avoid debt, and if you already are in debt, how do I get out of it? And then how do I start becoming an investor? Listen, children have read this book. They can understand it. You can understand it. Whether you're a seasoned, investor, or this is like your first time even trying to learn how to think like that, I promise you, you're going to learn the path of how this broke, homeless cocktail waitress was able to become completely debt-free, no mortgage, have multiple homes, right? Have been able to travel over the world, okay, and give millions of dollars away to the extreme poor. So this book has step-by-step how we've been able to do that. This book is a gift from us to you. Go to firststepstowealth.com, get your copy today, and start reading it. And I want you to write me. Please come over to Facebook and let me know what chapter you're in, what page you're on, what you're applying, how you're using it. Don't make the mistake that so many people make. I promise you there's more than one way to skin a cucumber. Cut a cucumber, something like that. All right, that's it. God bless you. Have a great one. Bye.
If this episode was an encouragement to you, go to DannyJohnson.com and share it with your friends now. You never know who else needs to hear it. This has been The Danny Johnson Show. Join us every weekday at 7 a.m. for more insights that will help you get to the life you've always wanted.